I was risking my passion for my identity. I get asked whether or not that was a worthy trade-off, and it absolutely was, and is, and continues to be.
To think that women sing high and men sing low is just such a mischaracterization. This is life and death, this gender stuff.
My name is Asher Maclaren. I'm based in Vancouver, BC, Canada. I think that a lot of trans folks do feel some trepidation about starting hormonal transition. I was worried that I wouldn't have a singing voice so much anymore. One of the only scientific resources that I came across when researching what might happen to my singing voice was the Key of Tea project by Dr. Ari Agha. It was very, very helpful.
I am Ari Agha, my pronouns are they and them, and I am from Calgary, Alberta. I am the creator and researcher behind Key of Tea, a research creation project about my voice change with testosterone. I am also a sociologist, I'm an activist, and I'm an advocate. Back in like 2015, there was really almost no research on the topic, and so I was stuck with anecdotal evidence, stories my community is telling me. A lot of those stories were really negative. My partner is a professor, in fact, of women's and gender studies, and I was telling her and complaining and, feeling uncertain and unsure and just being like, I can't believe no one studied this. But then of course I was like, of course nobody studied this because nobody studies trans people. But in any case, she said, well, why don't you study it then? We look at hormone measures, we look at physiological, we stuck a little scope down and looked at my vocal cords, we recorded all my voice lessons, we used all these different sources of information to just very, very carefully describe my voice and how it changed, where it started, where it ended up. Yeah, no.
Can you make fun of an opera singer?
I can.
Go.
Okay.
Just right where you start.
Yeah.
When they take testosterone, the larynx itself, there are cartilages in the larynx, and they actually do not get bigger. They stay the same. Whereas a cis male, the cartilages will grow. And when that happens, the vocal folds and the muscles within the folds, they get more dense and get more mass. And because the cartilage is not growing, but the mass is, it's kind of like this muscle mass is stuck into a smaller box than it normally would be. And what happens then is that there is not as much room for the vocal folds and the muscles to come apart to make the vocal folds come together to make sound. Estrogens don't necessarily affect the voice so much. You can get a little bit of dehydration and sometimes extra mucus builds up, but there's not too much different that happens for the trans feminine singer.
Most of my fears did come true, at least temporarily.
My name's Asher. You probably know this if you're watching this video because, well, it's on the internet, and no one just goes and looks at sad transition records on the internet unless they're transitioning. Oh my god!
2 months since my last update, and I think I sound manlier on average now because every time I answer the phone, my dad goes, "Wow, your voice is so deep."
I did spend a fair bit of time not being able to sing, and that brought with it more sadness than I thought I would experience. I lost my voice for quite a while, but I've gained a new one. I have what I wanted, which is a tenor range, and one that works, albeit not as well as my old range worked, but I had trained that for years, and I've probably trained this voice for 6 months. I was lucky enough to be able to take part in one of the first Trans Voices masterclasses put on by Opera Programs Berlin back in, I think, April of 2021. I was most excited to hear other singers who had undergone testosterone therapy, especially those who were further along.
I have been fortunate enough to work with Opera Programs Berlin on the Trans Voices masterclasses, where I met a couple of singers that we are talking to here. with trans masculine people, I find they are trying to adapt to their newfound chest resonance. Their voice sits a little bit lower, and if they were singers before, they had probably trained in using a higher instrument, if you will. What happened with your breath? Did you notice?
Yeah, I think it. Yeah.
Sing on it. I feel like it's a little pillow, and you're gonna go like, instead of
right. My voice got really unstable, and my voice also got really tired much more quickly than it did before.
But you send it down here instead of
Yeah.
The sound still stays the same. It's like,
Yeah.
Sing an NG for
The vocal fatigue, the breaking, the cracking, the instability, that's the biggest concern I've heard expressed from everybody. We just don't know enough now to make any guarantees or any promises, so it's a real risk. My overall singing range, so that's the highest note I could sing to the lowest note I could sing, shifted down by about a fourth. So I lost a few notes at the top that I used to be able to sing and I can no longer sing, and I gained a few notes at the bottom that I can now sing that I couldn't sing before. I went in terms that folks might be more familiar with. I used to sing alto in the choir, and now I sing tenor in the choir. The timbre or the quality of my voice changed. I continue to be able to have a high range, and I love my high notes, actually. Before I started taking testosterone, I spent most of my time singing in what we call head voice, or mode 2. And now that my voice has gotten a bit lower, I spend most of my time singing in mode 1, or chest voice. The muscles that make my vocal folds, do what they do are different.
Imagine you're being given a new voice. It's handed to you, and maybe look forward to the idea of training it up. It's like a new car you get to break in, I guess, and it's exciting, and it fits your style way better than the old one did anyway.